In the vast darkness between stars, where silence reigns supreme and death waits in every shadow, the universal law has always been simple. The strong devour the weak. For millennia, the Kithara Syndicate has been the apex predator of this cosmic food chain. Their bioships slicing through space like hungry sharks through dark water. Their prey? Anyone foolish enough to venture into the Outer Rim territories alone. But today, something different cuts through the void. A single human vessel, small and seemingly defenseless, drifts through space like wounded prey. The Kithara can taste victory already. Another easy hunt, another ship to strip clean. They don't know they're about to learn why humans earn their place among the stars not through superior technology or overwhelming numbers, but through something far more dangerous, the ability to turn any situation, no matter how hopeless, into an opportunity. What begins as a routine hunt is about to become a masterclass in why you should never corner a species that evolved from persistence predators. The hunters are about to discover that sometimes the prey has teeth. The human cargo freighter Tenacious drifted through the Outer Rim territories like a ghost ship, its hull scarred by micrometeorite impacts, and its navigation lights flickering weakly against the cosmic dark. To any observer, it appeared to be exactly what it seemed, a damaged vessel, possibly abandoned, certainly vulnerable. The kind of easy prey that pirate fleets dreamed about finding in the vast emptiness between civilized systems. Commander Sarah Chen stood on the bridge, her weathered hands gripping the captain's chair as she watched the sensor displays with the patience of someone who had spent 30 years learning to read the subtle signs of deep space. Her crew moved around her with quiet efficiency, each person focused on their assigned tasks while maintaining the careful illusion of a ship in distress. Contact bearing 27 Mark IV, reported Lieutenant Morrison from the sensor station, his voice carefully neutral. Biological signatures consistent with Kithara vessels. 3 ships, cruiser class, closing on intercept vector. Chen nodded slowly, her grey eyes never leaving the tactical display. The Kithara Syndicate had been terrorizing shipping lanes in this sector for over 2 decades, using their grotesque bioships to hunt down merchant vessels and strip them clean of cargo, crew, and anything else of value. Their ships were living organisms, bred for war and fed on the suffering of their victims. Most captains who encountered them either died fighting or surrendered and prayed for a quick death. Sarah Chen was not most captains. "Time to intercept?" she asked, her voice carrying the calm authority that had seen her through dozens of encounters with pirates, raiders, and worse things that lurked in the dark between stars. 47 minutes at current approach vector, Morrison replied. "They're taking their time, probably scanning us for defensive capabilities." "Good, let them look." Chen turned to her communications officer. "Rodriguez, any response to our distress beacon?" "Negative, Commander. We're broadcasting standard merchant frequencies requesting assistance with engine failure and life support degradation. If anyone else is listening, they're staying quiet about it." Chen smiled grimly. Perfect. The Kithara were predictable in their hunting patterns, always preferring isolated prey with no chance of rescue or reinforcement. They had no idea that the Tenacious had been deliberately positioned in this remote system, broadcasting false distress signals designed specifically to attract their attention. The bridge fell into a comfortable routine of controlled activity. Engineering reports filtered up through the comm system, painting a picture of a ship barely holding together. The crew played their parts perfectly, because for most of them, it wasn't entirely an act. The Tenacious was an old ship, a converted military transport that had seen better decades. Her armor was real, but hidden beneath layers of civilian plating. Her weapons were military-grade, but carefully concealed within cargo pods and maintenance sections. To external scans, she would read as exactly what she appeared to be, a desperate merchant vessel, limping through space on failing systems. "Commander," called Ensign Park from the intelligence station. "I'm reading detailed scans from the lead Kithara vessel. They're cataloging our cargo manifest and crew complement. What are they seeing?" Chen asked, though she already knew the answer. They had spent weeks preparing this deception. 43 crew members, mostly human, with a few Centauri traders. Cargo manifest shows mining equipment, refined metals, and processed foodstuffs. Total estimated value puts us in their target range for a full assault boarding. Chen allowed herself a small smile. The Kithara were nothing if not thorough in their predatory calculations. They wouldn't waste time on a low-value target, but they also wouldn't pass up a ship that promised significant profit for minimal risk. The Tenacious had been carefully crafted to fall directly into their preferred hunting parameters. 35 minutes to intercept, Morrison announced. They're adjusting formation. Looks like a standard hunting pattern, 2 ships flanking, 1 taking point for boarding operations. The bridge crew continued their preparations with the methodical precision of professionals who had drilled these scenarios hundreds of times. In the engineering sections, Chief Petty Officer Hassan was running final checks on systems that definitely weren't standard merchant equipment. Down in what appeared to be a cargo bay, Master Sergeant Williams was overseeing the preparation of weapons and armor that would have raised serious questions about the tenacious civilian status. Chen had handpicked every member of this crew from the remnants of the 47th Independent Fleet, a unit that had been officially disbanded after the Proxima incident but had never really stopped fighting the good fight. They were all volunteers, all veterans, and all tired of watching pirates and raiders prey on innocent merchant crews while the official authorities claimed their hands were tied by jurisdiction and politics. The Cathara Syndicate had made the mistake of attacking a convoy carrying refugees from the Kepler colony disaster. 300 civilians, including families with children, had been butchered when they tried to surrender. The official response had been a diplomatic protest and increased patrols that somehow never seemed to encounter the raiders when it mattered. Sarah Chen had decided that the official response wasn't sufficient. 25 minutes, Morrison called out. I'm reading energy buildup in their bioweapons. They're preparing to disable our engines. Acknowledged. All stations prepare for impact. Chen activated the ship-wide communication system. All hands, this is the captain. We are about to make contact with hostile forces. Remember your training, trust your equipment, and trust each other. Today we send a message that will echo through every pirate stronghold in the Outer Rim. Humanity does not make easy prey. The response came back through the comm system, as 43 voices acknowledged the order with professional calm. These were not merchant sailors facing their first pirate attack. These were soldiers, and they had been waiting for this fight for a long time. On the sensor display, the Cathara ships continued their approach with the confidence of predators who had never encountered serious resistance. Their bioships were impressive to behold, organic curves and flowing lines that spoke of evolution rather than engineering. The lead vessel was nearly 3 times the size of the Tenacious, its living hull pulsing with bioluminescent patterns that served as both communication and intimidation. Chen had seen recordings of Cathara bioships in action, watched them tear through merchant vessels with weapons that were literally alive. The images were the stuff of nightmares. Ships being consumed by acidic organisms, crew members dragged screaming into organic pods for processing. Entire vessels stripped down to their hulls and left drifting as monuments to the Syndicate's cruelty. 15 minutes, Morrison announced. They're hailing us. Put it through. The main display flickered to life, revealing the bridge of the lead Cathara vessel. The sight was enough to turn most people's stomachs. The ship's interior was a fusion of technology and biology, with control surfaces that pulsed like living tissue and displays that resembled compound eyes. At the center of it all stood the Cathara commander, a creature that might have been beautiful in an alien way if not for the obvious malevolence in its multifaceted gaze. Human vessel, the creature spoke in accented standard, its voice carrying harmonics that suggested multiple vocal cords working in unison. You will prepare for boarding operations. Resistance will result in the termination of your crew. Compliance will result in swift processing and minimal suffering. Chen stepped forward, allowing the camera to capture her in full uniform with the insignia of a merchant captain clearly visible. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the merchant vessel Tenacious. Our engines are failing and we're experiencing life support degradation. We're prepared to surrender our cargo if you'll allow us to evacuate to the life pods. The Cathara commander tilted its head, studying her with the calculating gaze of a predator evaluating prey. Your cargo will be seized. Your crew will be processed. Your ship will be consumed. This is the way of the hunt. I understand, Chen replied, keeping her voice steady despite the cold anger building in her chest. We'll comply with your demands. Please allow us time to prepare for evacuation. You have 10 standard minutes to power down all systems and prepare for boarding. Any attempt at deception will result in immediate termination of all life aboard your vessel. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in tense silence. Chen turned to her crew, seeing the same controlled fury in their faces that she felt in her own heart. The Cathara had just made their intentions perfectly clear, exactly as expected. All stations initiate Ghost Protocol, Chen ordered quietly. Throughout the ship, hidden systems came online while others shut down in carefully orchestrated sequence. To external senses, the Tenacious would appear to be powering down for surrender. In reality, she was shedding her disguise like a predator emerging from camouflage. 8 minutes to boarding, Morrison called out, his voice tight with anticipation. Chen watched the tactical display as the Cathara ships moved into position around her vessel. The aliens were following textbook hunting patterns, positioning themselves to prevent escape while the largest ship prepared to extend its boarding tentacles. They had done this hundreds of times before, and their confidence was absolute. 5 minutes. Kithara bioship is extending appendages for hard dark. Acknowledged. Chen activated her personal comm unit. Williams, are your people ready? Locked and loaded, Commander. We'll be waiting for them. Hassan, how are our engines looking? Ready to sing, Captain. They have no idea what's about to hit them. Chen smiled, feeling the familiar calm that came before battle. The Kithara thought they were boarding a helpless merchant vessel. Instead, they were about to walk into a carefully prepared killing ground, manned by some of the most experienced combat veterans in human space. 3 minutes, they're making contact with our hull. Through the ship's sensors, Chen could feel the alien vessel's living tendrils wrapping around the tenacious, like the arms of some cosmic octopus. Biomechanical cutting tools began working on the hull, preparing entry points for the boarding party. The process was both fascinating and revolting, watching alien technology that was part machine and part living organism work to breach their defenses. Hull breach in Section 7. Boarding party is coming through. All stations, weapons free. Show them what happens when they hunt humans. The battle was about to begin, but Chen knew that the real hunt had been happening for weeks. The Kithara thought they were the predators in this equation, but they were about to discover that they had been manipulated, maneuvered, and drawn into a trap by a species that had turned persistence hunting into an art form. Outside the ship, the vast emptiness of space bore witness to what appeared to be a routine pirate attack on a helpless merchant vessel. But appearances, as the Kithara were about to learn, could be very deceiving indeed. The Kithara boarding party moved through the breached hull of the Tenacious, with the fluid confidence of apex predators entering familiar territory. 24 warriors flowed into the ship's corridors, their bio-armor glistening with protective secretions and their living weapons already beginning to track potential targets. Each warrior stood nearly 7 feet tall, their elongated forms perfectly adapted for combat in the confined spaces of captured vessels. Squad leader Vexdai moved at the front of the formation, her sensory tendrils tasting the air for signs of human emotion. Fear, desperation, and resignation were the usual flavors that greeted boarding parties, but something about this vessel felt different. The atmospheric readings were wrong, the electromagnetic signatures didn't match standard merchant configurations, and there was an absence of the panic pheromones that typically flooded human ships under attack. Scan Pattern 7. Vexthai commanded through bioacoustic signals that resonated through her squad's living armor. Full spectrum analysis. Something is not correct about this vessel. Her warriors spread out according to established hunting protocols, their weapon symbiotes extending sensory organs to taste the ship's atmosphere. The corridors of the Tenacious stretched before them in standard human configuration, but there were subtle differences that nagged at Vexthai's predatory instincts. The lighting was too steady for a ship experiencing power failures. The air recycling systems hummed with too much efficiency for a vessel in distress. The first indication that something was seriously wrong came when they reached what should have been the crew quarters. Instead of finding terrified humans huddled together awaiting their fate, the boarding party discovered empty rooms with signs of hasty evacuation, personal belongings scattered on floors, emergency lighting active, and blast doors sealed according to standard evacuation protocols. Where are the humans? Warrior Keshvar asked through the biolink, his sensory organs detecting no life signs in the immediate area. Vexthai paused at a junction in the corridor system, her enhanced hearing picking up sounds that didn't belong on a surrendering merchant vessel. Mechanical vibrations from deeper in the ship, electromagnetic signatures that suggested active weapon systems, and something else that made her predatory instincts scream warnings into her consciousness.
This is a trap, she realized, but the understanding came seconds too late.
The blast doors at both ends of the corridor slammed shut with the finality of a tomb ceiling, and suddenly the hunting party found themselves in a kill zone that had been prepared with military precision. Hidden weapons ports opened in the walls, and the soft merchant lighting was replaced by the harsh glare of combat illumination. Master Sergeant Williams stepped out of a concealed position, his assault rifle already trained on the lead Kithara warrior. Behind him, 11 more human soldiers emerged from hiding spots that had been invisible even to alien sensory equipment. They moved with the coordinated precision of veterans who had fought together for years, their weapons systems powered by technology that the Kithara had never encountered in merchant vessels. "Welcome aboard," Williams said with grim satisfaction. "You picked the wrong ship to hunt." The firefight that erupted in the confined corridor was brief. vicious, and entirely one-sided. The Kithara warriors were formidable opponents in normal circumstances, their bioarmor providing excellent protection against standard weapons and their living weapons capable of adapting to most forms of resistance. But the humans had prepared specifically for this encounter, using intelligence gathered from previous attacks to design countermeasures for every aspect of Kithara combat doctrine. HFY watched in shock as her warriors fell under a barrage of weapons fire that seemed to ignore their bioarmor entirely. The human ammunition was designed to exploit weaknesses in organic defensive systems, using frequencies and chemical compositions that disrupted the symbiotic relationships between Kithara and their protective organisms. Within 30 seconds, half her boarding party was down. Within a minute, only she and 3 other warriors remained standing, their bioarmor smoking and their weapon symbiotes writhing in agony from exposure to human countermeasures. "Surrender," Williams ordered, his rifle trained directly on HFY's center mass. "Drop your weapons and submit to restraint, or we'll finish what you started." HFY's mind reeled with the impossibility of what had just happened. Humans were prey species, weak and fragmented, incapable of coordinated resistance against superior predators. The intelligence reports had been clear about their capabilities, their technology, and their will to fight. Everything she had been taught about human combat effectiveness had just been proven catastrophically wrong. "You are merchants," she gasped through her bioacoustic communicators. "Civilian targets, this cannot be." Williams smiled without humor. "We were never merchants. This is the 47th Independent Fleet, and you just walked into a military operation designed specifically to hunt your kind." Before HFY could respond, the ship's communication system crackled to life with an announcement from the bridge. Commander Chen's voice carried through the corridors with calm authority that sent chills through the surviving Kithara. "Attention boarding party, this is Commander Chen. Your bioship is currently being scanned and catalogued by my technical teams. We know the location of your bridge, your weapons control centers, and your primary biological systems. You have 60 seconds to order your ship to stand down, or we will demonstrate why humans have earned their reputation as the galaxy's most persistent predators." On the bridge of the lead Kithara bioship, Commander Zektar was experiencing his own crisis of understanding. The merchant vessel his forces had boarded was revealing capabilities that shouldn't exist outside of military installations. Weapon signatures were appearing on his sensors that indicated the presence of antimatter containment systems, particle beam projectors, and defensive barriers that belonged on warships rather than cargo haulers. "Status of boarding party?" he demanded through the biolink that connected him to his ground forces. The response came back weak and distorted, filtered through damaged bio-armor and failing communication symbiotes. "Trap. Military resistance. Squad leader HFY captured. Request immediate extraction." Zektar's compound eyes focused on the tactical display with predatory intensity. His bioship was more than capable of destroying the human vessel, but doing so would mean sacrificing his boarding party and losing valuable intelligence about human military capabilities. The Syndicate had built its power on the principle that humans were fragmented and weak, incapable of mounting organized resistance against superior alien technology. This encounter was challenging everything they believed about their prey. "Weapons Command, prepare bioplasma conduits for ship-killing intensity," he ordered. "If they want to play war games, we will show them the true meaning of superior evolution." That was when the human vessel revealed its true nature. The cargo pods along the tenacious hull suddenly split open like mechanical flowers, revealing weapons systems that had been hidden beneath layers of civilian camouflage. Point defense lasers, missile pods, and energy projectors emerged from concealment with the smooth precision of equipment maintained by professional military personnel. But it was what happened next that truly shocked the Kithara commander. The human ship didn't just reveal weapons, it revealed a complete military sensor suite that immediately began broadcasting detailed analyses of his bioship's structure, capabilities, and vulnerabilities on frequencies that would be picked up by any human vessel within a dozen light years. "Target acquisition complete," Chen announced through open channels that the Kithara could monitor, broadcasting full tactical analysis of Syndicate bioship design to all human defense force frequencies. Priority intelligence update. Kithara vessels show critical vulnerabilities in Section 7, 12, and 21. Recommend focused fire on organic control nodes for maximum effectiveness. Zektar realized with growing horror that this wasn't just a trap for his ships. It was an intelligence-gathering operation designed to analyze Kithara technology and broadcast the results to human military forces throughout the sector. The merchant vessel they had attacked was actually a sophisticated intelligence platform, manned by experienced military personnel and equipped with sensors capable of penetrating bioship defenses. Break off attack, he ordered his remaining ships. Full retreat to hyperspace transition point. But the human commander wasn't finished with them yet. Negative on your withdrawal. Chen's voice came across the communication channels with implacable certainty. You came here to hunt. Now you get to learn what it feels like to be prey. The tenacious opened fire with weapons that had been hidden for weeks beneath merchant camouflage. The first salvo targeted the bioship's sensory organs, blinding it with precisely aimed energy bursts that severed the neural connections between the vessel and its external awareness systems. The second salvo hit the propulsion nodes, using ammunition specifically designed to poison the organic systems that powered Kithara vessels. Jektar's ship convulsed as alien toxins flooded its biological systems, causing cascade failures throughout the living weapon networks. Emergency protocols activated automatically, but the human weapons seemed designed to exploit every aspect of bioship vulnerability that had been discovered through careful study and analysis. The other two Kithara vessels moved to assist their flagship, but found themselves facing something they had never encountered before: a human military unit that had prepared specifically to hunt their kind. Hidden mines activated around their formation, releasing clouds of engineered bacteria that attacked the organic components of their ships. Long-range sensors detected additional human vessels moving to intercept their escape routes. This wasn't a random encounter with a merchant vessel. This was a carefully orchestrated military operation designed to capture, analyze, and destroy Kithara forces while gathering intelligence for future operations. Commander, his bioship's nervous system reported through direct neural link. Massive system failures detected throughout primary organism. Estimate 37% combat effectiveness remaining. Biological weapon systems compromised. Hyperspace organs damaged beyond repair capacity. Zektar stared at the tactical display in shock. In less than 10 minutes, his hunting pack had been reduced from apex predators to wounded prey by a species they had dismissed as weak and disorganized. The human vessel continued its methodical destruction of his forces, each weapon strike precisely targeted to cause maximum damage to biological systems, while keeping the ships intact enough for capture and study. This was what it felt like to be hunted by persistent predators. Open communication channel to human vessel, he ordered with the bitter taste of defeat flooding his bioacoustic systems. Chen's face appeared on his bio-display, her expression showing none of the fear or desperation that Kithara commanders expected from human prey. Instead, she looked like what she was, a professional military officer conducting a successful operation against enemy forces. "Commander Zektar," she said, somehow knowing his name despite never having been introduced. "You have two choices: surrender your vessels for capture and study, or be destroyed where you drift. Your bioships are crippled, your escape routes are blocked, and reinforcements are already en route to secure this system. The hunt is over." Zektar looked around his dying bridge, watching organic control systems fail one by one as human toxins continued their systematic destruction of his ship's biological components. His crew was beginning to show signs of panic as the bioship's death throes affected their symbiotic connections to the vessel. For the first time in his life, he understood what it meant to be prey. The captured Kithara bioships hung in space like wounded leviathans, their organic hulls pulsing weakly as human engineering teams worked to keep their biological systems stable enough for detailed study. What had begun as a simple hunting expedition had transformed into the most significant intelligence coup in the ongoing conflict between human merchant fleets and alien raiders. Commander Sarah Chen stood in the main laboratory aboard the research vessel Perseverance, which had arrived 6 hours after the engagement along with a full battle group from the Human Defense Force. She watched through reinforced observation ports as xenobiologists and military engineers dissected the alien technology that had terrorized shipping lanes for over 2 decades. "Initial analysis confirms what we suspected," reported Dr. Elizabeth Warren, the lead researcher on the project. "The bioships are incredibly sophisticated, but they have fundamental weaknesses that can be exploited once you understand their biological basis. The Kithara have been so successful because no one has ever been able to study their technology in detail before." Chen nodded, feeling a grim satisfaction as she watched the systematic dismantling of alien superiority. The operation had been planned for 8 months, ever since intelligence reports revealed the Kithara hunting patterns in this sector. Every detail had been carefully orchestrated to appear like a random merchant encounter, while actually serving as bait for a trap that would capture intact specimens for analysis. "What about the prisoners?" she asked. "Fascinating and disturbing in equal measure," Warren replied, consulting her datapad. The Cathara aren't just using biotechnology, they're symbiotically integrated with their ships and weapons. The relationship goes beyond simple tool use into actual biological dependence. When we captured them, we essentially severed them from life support systems they can't survive without for extended periods. Through the laboratory's communication system, Chen could hear the ongoing interrogation of Commander Jektar and his surviving crew members. The process wasn't torture in any conventional sense, but rather a methodical extraction of information about syndicate operations, fleet dispositions, and strategic objectives. The aliens had proven surprisingly willing to cooperate once they realized the scope of human intelligence gathering capabilities. "They're terrified," reported Lieutenant Commander Jackson, who was leading the interrogation effort. "Not of death or physical pain, but of the implications of what happened here. In their worldview, humans are supposed to be prey animals. The idea that we've been studying them, learning their weaknesses, and preparing countermeasures represents a fundamental challenge to their entire social structure." Chen could understand the psychological impact. The Cathara Syndicate had built its power on the assumption that they were the apex predators in any given encounter, superior to other species through evolution and technology. Discovering that their prey had been hunting them in return, gathering intelligence for a coordinated response, shattered their basic assumptions about the nature of interspecies conflict. "Commander," called Ensign Park from the communications station, "we're receiving priority transmissions from Fleet Command. Admiral Morrison wants to speak with you directly." Chen made her way to the secure communications center, where Admiral Morrison's weathered face filled the holographic display. Behind him, she could see the bustling activity of a major fleet operation being coordinated from the command ship Indomitable. "Sarah," Morrison said without preamble, "congratulations on a textbook intelligence operation. The data you've gathered is already being distributed to merchant defense fleets throughout the sector, but I'm afraid your work isn't finished yet." "Sir?" "The captured Cathara have revealed something significant during interrogation. The Syndicate isn't just a random collection of raiders. They're the advanced scouts for a much larger military force. What we've been calling pirate attacks are actually reconnaissance operations, gathering intelligence about human shipping routes, defense capabilities, and response times." Chen felt a chill run down her spine. "How large a force are we talking about, Admiral?" "Preliminary estimates suggest a battle fleet of over 200 bioships, including vessels significantly larger than anything we've encountered before. The Syndicate has been preparing for a major offensive against human space, using the intelligence gathered from their pirate attacks to plan invasion routes and target priorities." The implications were staggering. If the Cathara had been conducting systematic intelligence gathering under the cover of piracy, they would have detailed information about human military capabilities, merchant routes, and civilian population centers. A coordinated attack by a force that size could devastate human settlements throughout the Outer Rim territories. "What are our response options?" Chen asked. "Bungabud, dead." Morrison's expression grew grimmer. "That's where your operation becomes even more important than we initially realized. The intelligence you've gathered about Cathara bioship vulnerabilities is our best chance of developing effective countermeasures. But we need more than just technical data. We need to understand their command structure, their strategic planning, and their overall objectives." Chen looked back toward the laboratory where alien technology was being systematically analyzed by human scientists. "The prisoners have been cooperative so far, but there are limits to what they know." Commander Zektar was a mid-level officer in a raiding group, not someone with access to overall syndicate strategy. "Which is why we need to take this operation to the next level," Morrison replied. "Intelligence reports suggest a major syndicate fleet anchorage in the Kepler Nebula, approximately 40 light-years from your current position. We want you to take the Tenacious and attempt to infiltrate their command structure using the intelligence you've gathered from the captured vessels." The audacity of the proposal took Chen's breath away. Morrison was suggesting that they take their single modified merchant vessel into the heart of Syndicate territory, surrounded by potentially hundreds of enemy bioships, and attempt to gather intelligence on a major military force. "Sir, with respect, that sounds like a suicide mission. The Tenacious is well equipped for dealing with individual raiding groups, but against an entire fleet." "We're not sending you alone," Morrison interrupted. "Fleet intelligence has been developing new stealth technology based on analysis of captured Syndicate equipment. We think we can modify your ship to mimic Cathara biosignatures well enough to pass casual inspection. Combined with the intelligence gathered from your prisoners, we believe you can approach their anchorage posing as a returning raiding group." Chen considered the proposal, weighing the enormous risks against the potential intelligence value. If the Syndicate was indeed preparing for a major offensive, early warning could save millions of human lives. But the chances of successfully infiltrating an alien military installation and returning with useful intelligence seemed vanishingly small.
What about backup? She asked.
A full battle group will be positioned at maximum sensor range, ready to respond if things go wrong. But realistically, if your cover is blown while you're inside Syndicate space, there won't be much we can do to extract you. Chen looked around the secure communication center, thinking about her crew aboard the Tenacious. They were all volunteers who had signed up to fight pirates and protect innocent merchant vessels. This mission would take them far beyond anything they had originally committed to, into the kind of deep space intelligence operation that typically fell to specialized military units. "I'll need to discuss this with my crew," she said finally. "They deserve to know what they're volunteering for." "Understood. But Sarah, time is critical. Intelligence estimates suggest the Syndicate offensive could begin within the next few months. If we're going to develop effective countermeasures, we need to know what we're facing." The transmission ended, leaving Chen alone with the weight of the decision. Outside the communication center, she could hear the sounds of ongoing analysis work as human scientists continued their examination of captured alien technology. Every piece of information they gathered brought them closer to understanding their enemies, but it also revealed the scope of the threat they faced. She made her way back to the Tenacious, where her crew was conducting maintenance operations and integrating new equipment based on the intelligence gathered from the captured bioships. Master Sergeant Williams looked up as she approached, reading something in her expression that made him set down his tools. "What's the word, Commander?" he asked quietly. Chen gathered her senior staff in the ship's briefing room and laid out Admiral Morrison's proposal in detail. She watched their faces as the implications became clear, seeing the mixture of determination and apprehension that came with contemplating a mission that pushed the boundaries of calculated risk into outright desperation. "So, let me understand this correctly," said Chief Petty Officer Hassan after a long silence. "We're going to disguise ourselves as alien pirates, sneak into their main fleet base, gather intelligence on their invasion plans, and somehow make it back alive to report what we've learned. That's the general idea," Chen confirmed. "I won't lie to you, the odds of survival are not good. This is volunteer only. Anyone who wants to transfer to regular fleet duty can do so without prejudice." The response came back immediately from every member of her crew. They had signed up to fight pirates and protect innocent people. If those pirates were planning a major offensive against human space, then stopping them fell well within their mission parameters. "When do we leave?" asked Williams. Chen smiled, feeling a surge of pride in her crew that mixed with deep concern for their safety. "Modifications to the ship will take 72 hours. We depart as soon as the work is complete." As her crew dispersed to begin preparations, Chen remained in the briefing room looking at star charts that showed the vast distances they would be traveling. 40 light-years into enemy territory, surrounded by hostile forces, attempting to gather intelligence that could save millions of lives, or could simply get them all killed for nothing. Outside the ship, the captured Kithara biovessels continued their slow death spiral as human engineers harvested every piece of useful information from their biological systems. The aliens who had come to hunt humans had instead become the subjects of systematic analysis, their technology stripped away and their strategic assumptions proven catastrophically wrong. But Chen knew that the real test was still ahead of them. The Kithara they had captured were raiders, not the military elite that would be guarding their main fleet anchorage. Infiltrating that force would require not just technological countermeasures, but a level of deception that went far beyond anything they had attempted before. The hunters had indeed become the hunted, but the greatest hunt was yet to come. In 72 hours, the Tenacious would begin a journey into the heart of enemy territory, carrying with it the hopes of human space and the accumulated knowledge of everything they had learned about their alien adversaries. The real question was whether humanity's talent for persistence hunting would be enough to see them through what promised to be the most dangerous mission any of them had ever attempted. The war between predator and prey was about to enter its next phase, and the stakes had never been higher.